6 of the Eurovox Australian Touring Car Championship from Keilor. Racing, Brocky, a beautiful start. Johnson grabs a gear. Francevic crowds Masterton on the inside, but can't get through. He's caught down there and keeping Masterton on the grass as they range up. Johnson will drop into second. Masterton's caught a little sideways. Francevic is up to fourth place, and Masterton will now come out running in third as they come down the back straight away. Jim Richards has the job ahead of him. Robbie Francevic tearing down on the inside of Masterton. Masterton's on the tail of Johnson, and Peter Perfect in the number 7 will lead into Castrol S's for the first time. Just look at the traffic congestion.
Jim Richards got shuffled back into 5th spot going into the first corner. He still occupies that position just ahead of Alan Jones in the first of the Alphas, and then Richards' teammate Neville Crichton in the second BMW.
Coming up for one lap completed, 59 thrill pack laps to come. And the race leader is Peter Brock. Dick Johnson, wow, the job, up for second. And Robbie Francevic has got the turbo wound up, and here he comes. Up on the outside, Peter Brock has lost an engine. No, it was a brake lock. Peter Brock goes into the corner high through his line out, but you'll find that Dick Johnson still holds second. Robbie Francevic is third, has taken Masterton.
Masterton under pressure too from Jim Richards, desperate to go quicker.
Richards draws up on the inside of Masterton, coming down to the Castrol S's, but Francevic's still sitting in there behind Dick Johnson. Boy, what a race we've got going, and going around the outside, as you'll notice, coming down to globally, there's Alan Jones, who is absolutely all over Jim Richards. Out of the corner, there they are, line astern. Jones tucked in on for the draft up the front straight. For 2 laps completed in 58, and Melbourne's Peter Brock and the Mobile number 7 Commodore leads. Robbie Francevic around the outside of Johnson. Johnson goes back into third, and the great scrap continues with Jimmy Richards and Steve Masterton. Well, Francevic signalling he has got the turbo boost about right here for the straights at Calder. A very, very compact field. Just look at the traffic congestion, and we're still 3 laps into the race.
Richards has got by Masterton coming down to the Castrol S's and moves up into 4th place, so it's Brock leading, Francevic second, Johnson third, then Richards, then Masterton, Jones, Crichton, and 0-5 with John Harvey at the wheel has come up from 11th position on the grid to 7th.
Great driving from Johnny Harvey. Here they come through glow with Crichton is there. Harvey is the next one back behind him, and Kevin Bartlett the next one in the Starion. Bachin back just a little as they go across the start-finishing line. Brock the leader.
Oh, it's been a frantic 3 laps. Francevic in 2nd spot. Dick Johnson third. Dick, after what we were saying about the starting grid, actually made the best possible start that he could from where he was.
To think that you've got to spend that much money to buy all those gumball tyres to get pole position, they get shuffled out in the run to the first corner. Dick Johnson carrying race cam. No way in the world we're going to disturb Dick Johnson at the moment. He's trying to get back past the turbo Volvo, and boy, has he got a guy riding on the back of his bumper in Jim Richards, 62, and Richards doesn't want to give Brock that much of a start. Well, he hasn't got much of a start, Brock. He's got probably 3 car lengths over Robbie Francevic.
Here comes Richards.
Richards now makes his move. He'll pass Johnson. Got a little more torque down the straights. Here they come into the corner. We'll wait for the clash here as Richards takes Dick Johnson. That moves him up to 3rd. Johnson goes back to 4th, and Steve Masterton is 5th as they come down AGC straight.
Well, Masterton started like a bullet, but they've been able to reel him in. Dropping back into 4th place. This is the battle now as Richards claws his way back through the field in pursuit of Peter Brock. Francevic is the man that Richards has to reel in next. This should provide quite a battle. Brock has a little safety margin up his sleeve at the moment as they cross the start-finish line again. Francevic, the Kiwi who came here at the start of the season, determined to make a big impact on touring car racing in Australia, and boy, is he living up to the promise.
You're not wrong there, Gary. Doing a great job. Robbie Francevic and the turbo Volvo. A circuit that he didn't really believe that would suit the Volvo. They had some problems rebuilding, a head gasket problem on Friday. Crew have been working 24 hours straight, and at the moment Brock is just edging away slightly from Robbie Francevic, but right behind Robbie Francevic is, of course, Jim Richards in the 62 JPS BMW. getting off the course just a little, coming off the turn at Glowweave.
6 laps completed. Brock leads. Francevic second. Then Richards, Johnson, Masterton, Alan Jones. Masterton's pulling off.
The car's slowing.
Down the main straight, the car's slowing badly. So that's the end of Steve's chances for the day. Maybe he did a little more damage than he thought in that crunch into the wall yesterday.
The AGC back straight shows the Mobile dealer team car number 7 leading the race. Right behind him is Robbie Francevic, and 21 just picked him up from nowhere. Now, whether or not Francevic has turned up the wick, but he's got right on the tail now of Peter Brock. Doesn't believe the car is the best handling one for this course, but on a straight line run to the turns, Francevic's Volvo has to be seen to be believed, and he is sizing him up now. There's Masterton pulling off, and Francevic on the outside of Peter Brock races him for the lead in round 6 of the Touring Car Championship from Keilor. He couldn't pull it as they went to Valvoline.
Bravery under brakes saves it for Peter Brock.
They move on to the AGC back straight. Brock knows he's got a challenger and a hot one here with Francevic in car number 21. Richard sitting up there waiting to see how all the games are going to pan out here. They are very, very close. Brock leads them down towards Glowweave. Into the right-hander now. Skips away a little bit here under brakes, but Francevic should be able to pull him back on this long straight at Calder. Dick Johnson has moved up onto the draft as well. So Peter Brock has a very business-like Robbie Francevic trying to size him up. Breaking the draft, Francevic once again pulls this move on the outside. Try to get himself set for a run back under Brock as they come off this corner.
I don't think he's got the handling to get under Brock out of this corner. That's the problem.
He's closer now, though, as they come, and Johnson moves up behind them. How much closer is Johnson that time? Brock using all of the racetrack here, going to show Rob a little new line or two, oh yes, around Keilor International Raceway. Jimmy Richards must realise now that Brock is holding up the show just a little, because they've all managed to close up behind Brock.
Nose to tail, the top 4. Brock, Francevic, Richards and Johnson. Then a slight gap to the next pair, Alan Jones and Neville Crichton.
They'll be coming up on the slower cars. They could hold the key to who takes the lead. Francevic this time. Zappo down the outside. Brock says no, no, no. Gets back onto the binders and races him in under brakes. Locks up the brake doing it. Oh, and
he spun it.
And almost takes out. No, he comes back across the track, and they all manage to miss him. And how often do you see Peter Brock have a lose? Not that often at all. Now, one pretty satisfied Kiwi has found himself up in front and leading the Australian Touring Car Championship round 6. Robbie Francevic, he'd be feeling super.
He applied immense pressure there on Brock for lap after lap. About 4 times he had to go at him at the bottom of the main straight. Got the nose in front. Brock really had to do it brave under brakes, and he just did it a little too hard. Let's take a look at it from race cam with Dick Johnson.
Okay, Brock coming into the turn. He's got it around a little sideways, is losing it completely there. Dick at this stage thinking, I'll follow Jim. He goes through, and that was it. Exit Peter Brock, and the race continues with Robbie Francevic coming up behind the slower cars. Jim Richards starting to loom now as the potential man to watch in this field.
Brock will be furious, but I'll bet in one respect he's happy he didn't bend a brand new car.
You're right there.
Brock, in fact, is coming into the pits.
We'll get that for you shortly, but in the meantime, we'll watch this great scrap between two drivers who are attacking this round here at Keilor with everything today. Robbie Francevic, who lives, of course, in New Zealand and is over here to campaign this turbo Volvo for the Touring Car Championship, and an expatriate Kiwi who leads it in Jimmy Richards. Steve Masterton's car, whatever the problem was, they've been able to rectify it. It is back in the race.
Yes, he lost a couple of laps in the pits, though, so he's really out there now to get the car sorted out for the future rounds of the Touring Car Championship and the Endurance Championship to come. Francevic continues to lead under pressure from Jim Richards and Dick Johnson. Alan Jones tucked in behind them in 4th place in the little Alfa, doing a mighty job.
Well, a very quick pit stop for Brock, and he goes back out after losing probably a lap and a half. And here's where the action is in the Touring Car Championship. The Eurovox radios around here today. Oh, and a little tap from Jim. just to get Robbie sorted out through Glowweave Corner and a run down the straightaway again. Johnson still in the draft, running in third spot, and it would appear that Neville Crichton
has
back
got
behind
past,
them.
yes, he's got past Alan Jones.
And hasn't that Volvo got some straight line speed? Doesn't handle all that well, but they're hopeful of rectifying that. In fact, Mark Petch was telling me only earlier today, they've got the engine just about right, and they're allowing Robbie to do most of the development on the chassis. They feel that he really has to live with the way the car is set.
He's the man that drives it.
And a man close to us, Derek Heiler, has been helping with it as well, giving him some advice. Must have paid off for him because he's up front leading.
Well, handling was going to be his worry around this circuit, but he seems to have got it sorted out pretty well. And with the new engine plugged in, they've really got the power they needed. And this car is fiercely competitive. It's a long time since Peter Brock's been forced into error.
Well, Brocky's back in the race, but here's the turbo Volvo. The Mark Petch entry, number 21, Robbie Francevic, the race leader in round 6, the Eurovox Trophy here at Keilor. The man who is getting closer to him all the time is Jimmy Richards as they come down the back straight, the AGC straight, heading down to the Castrol S's. And Dick Johnson still holding a very, very comfortable third, clear of Neville Crichton. Alan Jones, the next one. And then back behind them, John Harvey, I believe, just ahead of Kevin Bartlett and Colin Bond.
You've called them exactly the way they are, Mike. Exactly, and that's with coming up 14 laps gone out of 60 in round 6 of the Touring Car Championship for the Eurovox Trophy here at Keilor International. What a happy place this has turned out to be so far for Robbie Francevic.
62 Richards. You've got your money on Richards. It's still maybe reasonably safe. He's just so tidy and so fast. With the problems that the Francevic Mark Petch crew have had over the past few days, it'll be a miracle really if they have a trouble-free run through this. I hope I'm not putting the bookers on it because they certainly don't deserve that. They're coming up on Mike Mania, strong-arm kid in the Volvo, and he of course is doing well in the STP Rookie Awards. STP oil treatment have put up $30,000 in Rookie Awards for the Touring Car Championship.
Jim Keogh, I think, leads the series the award at the moment on points. But as you said, Mike Minier also scoring well, and it's a good encouragement to those guys.
Great to see Jim Keogh, grey-haired, going to be the oldest rookie in town.
Tim Slako from West Australia, we've seen in a couple of rounds also, has scored well on points for that STP Rookie Award.
Coming down the AGC back straight, Robbie Francevic, Jimmy Richards right in behind them, Dick Johnson getting closer all the time. Then haunting them in the background is Neville Crichton.
15 laps gone in round 6 of the Touring Car Championship.
Robbie Francevic continues to lead the Touring Car Championship, but look who has just dropped in under Jim Richards for second. It's Queensland's Dick Johnson. And Robbie Francevic and Richards have been having one heck of a game here. They've been tapping and tapping. Johnson just caught Richards in the old trotting parlance, one out and one back, and just closed the gap, snuck through on the inside, which was something I don't think Richards appreciated. And Robbie Francevic manages to get away down the straight. Johnson still hanging in there, and Jim has now got to come back from third rather than from second.
There's a pretty good gap back to the next couple, including Crichton and Alan Jones, Mike, and I wonder whether Richards mightn't be content just to back off a little, because the pace has been pretty furious.
Well, it certainly has. The Volvo still being able to run away from his BMW down the straight. This is the awful part of the course for the BMW.
One thing that Jim Richards has proved, though, he's got the tyres to run the distance, even around Calder, which is hard on tyres.
Yes. Francevic in car number 21, the Mark Petch Volvo, continues to lead out of Valvoline corner. Dick Johnson of Queensland in second. Will be going to race cam with Dick a little later. And Jimmy Richards sitting back behind Johnson in car number 62.
The black BMWs, in fact, are running third and fourth on the track. Jim Richards and Neville Crichton, Alan Jones holding down fifth place. And car 05 rather, is in sixth spot. And of course, that's John Harvey.
Glowweave corner again. Robbie Francevic in the Volvo comes out of the bend. Not far back behind him is Dick Johnson. and of course Jim Richards, and then you can start to see pulling them in Neville Crichton and the other BMW, and Alan Jones in the Network Alpha number 27.
Try as he might, Crichton hasn't been able to get too far away from Jones either. Slower traffic.
There's Bob Holden, staying well to the inside of the course there, giving them all racing room. Good old Bob. They come down the AGC back straight. I thought Richards might have been able to pick up Johnson a little quicker than this, but he has now, and he's putting wheels up on the curb, so I'd say Jim wants to get on with this. He really can't afford to give Francevic a 100-metre break. He caught him up before, there was a touch, then he lost a spot as a regard in respect of position he was holding, and as you can see, Francevic is now starting to just edge away slightly from Dick Johnson. And I would say that's close enough to probably 50 metres.
Well, Francevic's quite happy to see Johnson and Richards in the rearview mirror playing cutthroat, plays right into his hands, and because he gets out of the corners before them and plants his foot in the turbo Volvo, and it's on the long straights down the front and up the back that he makes up all the ground here and is drawn away. There's Keogh, the man who leads the Encouragement Award.
Once again, they come down to the Castrol S's. Francevic caught up behind a slower car momentarily. 74 now. Johnson goes the outside route. Richards will come in here and try and take him as well into Glowweave corner. Tyres are hanging on. And our man in the pits who's been studying this fascinating round of the Touring Car Championship is Neil Crompton.
Thank you, Mike. Fascinating it is indeed. The news from the pits with Peter Brock's problem was that he didn't make a driver error. In fact, he blew a left rear tyre, which in fact spun the car, as you could well see. The other news down here from the Commodore camp is, of course, Steve Masterton's problems. You may have seen some of the blue smoke haze coming out from the back of the car. That was a gearbox problem, which ultimately put him out of the race, but he had a double header because he also had a flat rear left tyre. So that's what's happening down here at the moment. I can see Jim Richards getting stuck into the back of Johnson. We'll take it back to central commentary.
Thank you very much, Neil Crompton. And Dick Johnson and Jim Richards continue their great battle for second place behind New Zealand's Robbie Francevic into Glowweave corner again. Francevic still that 50-metre split over Johnson's Mustang, and of course the always reliable JPS BMW 62 of Jim Richards.
Top three have opened up a fair break now on Neville Crichton in 31 in fourth place, and Alan Jones still tagged right onto the end of the leading division. And then 05, John Harvey. They're the top six. But it's about a half lap of the circuit, I'd say, between first and eighth at the present time. This is where Francevic gets away just a little bit. Here we go through this corner. That's the one where Brock had the tyre go on him and spun out. Francevic, you can see the Volvo dance across the road right to the outside and up the back straight. Again, tends to get just a little bit away from Johnson. On go the brakes for Francevic. Johnson closes up under brakes. Here they go into the Castrol S's, and handling is a plus here for Johnson. Oh, they really do have to throw these big cars around to get them through these corners. Onto Glowweave again. A very tough right-hander right to the outside and straighten up for the long run down the main straight at Keilor. And again, you can see the advantage of the turbo Volvo on the straights.
That's first, Rob Francevic. Second, Johnson. Third, of course, is Jim Richards. Man stepping back into the driver's seat today is, of course, John Harvey. And the car that has been campaigned by Peter Brock, that's the 05 Commodore. Peter Brock electing to drive the 7 car after it suited him just a little better, and the car was a little quicker in practice.
What was it you were saying when you spoke to him earlier about Lucky 7?
Well, yeah, you probably have something to say about that later, but with a deflating tyre, that's not really something you can blame on Peter Brock. But John Harvey, good to be back in racing in the 05 car, and he'll probably go back to the 7 car, I would think, for the next round of the Touring Car Championship. Will be held at Surface Paradise in about a fortnight's time. So John Harvey continues along in the field.
He's been a while out of the saddle, Harves. We haven't sighted him since the end of last year.
Running 6th at the moment on the road, John Harvey.
But as you saw in Neil Crompton's report, it's taken the dealer team a little time to get their second car up and running, but it now is, and it's good to have Harves back on the track. The leader is Robbie Francevic from New Zealand in car number 21, the turbocharged Volvo.
It appear maybe certainly Francevic is climbing everything he can get a back wheel over, then some, and might be having some tyre problems. Because at this particular point of the racetrack, the long straight, you'll notice the Volvo just clears right out. But look how Dick will close it up under brakes.
And look out Dick, because right behind him is Jim Richards.
Yes, it won't be long before Richards is back to put the pressure on them again. Francevic used a wide entrance there, comes out, picks up the inside wheel as they come down the back straight with still Dick Johnson tagging him, and Jim Richards not that far back, and Johnson will have to cover his tracks now because Richards will come up on the inside of him, and he's just managed to fend him off there as they come up behind one of the slower cars. All over the ripple step that time is Robbie Francevic. He's trying desperately to hang on and post a win here in the 6th round of the Touring Car Championship. Johnson using the low line out of the corner, and Jim Richards sitting right on the tail of Dick Johnson's Mustang as they come up the straight again. Wait to see whether or not Richards can pull out of the draft and take an inside shot at Johnson.
Just about nose to tail, the top three, Francevic, Johnson and Richards. Back to Valvoline corner again. Oh, by geez, really punishing that Volvo, Francevic. Desperation measures to stall off the other two.
And there's not much really Dick Johnson can do about it because the Volvo has got that much squirt on the straight. He's all over the car and the part of the racetrack where the better handling. And he says, come on, Rob, get on with it. Look at Richards here. Look at Richards down the outside. And I think the signal has gone out to Robbie Francevic to either get on with it. But Dick has gone for the outside lick. He's not going to get anything there.
Jim might have given it up to Richards.
May have well. He's dropped. Yes, he has. As they come across the line, you'll notice Richards now will come up into second. A pass there from Jim Richards moves him to second behind Robbie Francevic. Francevic has been off the pace a little. He's got some rubber off the back bumper. As you can see, starting to shred, and I think it won't be long before Jim Richards gets on even terms down here with the slower cars and Robbie Francevic.
Pretty low percentage try, what don't you reckon, from Dick to go to the outside there? It's cost him a place.
Well, I think he was thrown a little out of momentum that time by the time touching Francevic. Tell you what, there's not too many have missed the back of Robbie's Volvo today.
I think he's getting a bit of a touch up there from Richards as well. Johnson goes the outside again.
That won't work. Come back onto the straight. They're still, notice the leaders are still well clear of Neville Crichton and Alan Jones, and now Francevic has Jim Richards closing up to him at this corner. Well, if he can keep that Volvo turned up, and here's the go down the inside, says Jim. He went wide that time, and Jimmy Richards goes through to take over the lead, and Johnson up very quickly on the inside is trying to fight back, but Francevic won't give way. Francevic continues on the outside. Johnson will have the line for the turn. Jimmy Richards, car number 62, has done it from 4th place, comes back to now lead the Australian Touring Car Championship. Dick Johnson in 2nd place, and Robbie Francevic is 3rd. What a race.
Had to happen. The tyres just wouldn't hold the road for Francevic after the punishing that they've taken for the first 40 laps of this race. He couldn't hold the line through the corner. Not only did Richards get through to take the lead, but Johnson is through for 2nd. Oh boy, breathless stuff. So, the series leader, the man that's won 3 out of 5 so far, assumes command once more. It's a little battle scarred, that Volvo, isn't it?
Yes, you're right there. Number 10, they're coming up on now. And of course, is John Smith in the Toyota Corolla. But Richards comes down through the Castrol S's. Impeccable drive from Richards. Gee, what a pressure drive from him. He was all over Robbie Francevic, got tangled up behind him. Out of shape. Dick Johnson nabbed 2nd back off him, but he's been able to come back again with Robbie Francevic's car dropping clearly off the pace as Richards and Dick Johnson now have opened up 100 metres.
Spearing down the main straightaway past the grandstand, closing very rapidly on car 10, the Corolla of John Smith that made its first appearance in the small car category in Adelaide last week. Still still in the process of sorting it out, but it's going to be a good little race car once they get it up and running in its class. Side by side with Jim Richards. And Richards and Johnson both go through, as you'd expect, with the horsepower that they've got under the bonnet. Coming round through Glowweave this time and onto the main straight again, Mike. I think we might try and chance a quick word with Dick Johnson.
Yes, we'll be coming through to race cam with Dick now as he comes on to the start-finishing straight. Well, you've provided us with a sensational round of the Touring Car Championship. You seemed a little frustrated with Robbie Francevic. Seemed to be
God damn, mate, it's like having a block of flats in front of you.
Well,
it handles like a wet sponge.
Well,
especially when his tyres went off. God.
I think Robbie will agree the thing is not the best handling car, but by goodness me, it's got some poke in a straight line.
Mate, she's got more mumbo than
Jumbo.
Than Sammy Davis Jr., I tell you.
Well, what about this fella in front of you? By goodness me, you're quick through this section of the track.
Yeah, I'll just keep on working on him and see if I can wear him out. But tell you what, McDowell must look at how she's been at the Speedway for a week. I think I've been hit. I tell you, I've had more hits than Elvis.
I tell you what, Robbie Francevic looked like he survived a demolition derby here today.
You're not wrong, there was bits hanging off everywhere.
Dick, you had a pretty good look at Peter Brock when he spun out there at the bottom.
Yeah, well, it's not often you see that, is it? Here's a fellow competitor for you. Have a look at this, will you? Running his own race, 4 laps down.
Yeah, some make it easy for you and some don't.
Yeah.
Well, second at the moment, that's not too bad. I mean, and you're really in touch. Jim's not getting away from you.
We'll see if we can give him a bit of mumbo here.
All right, we'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Dick. Here's the scrap. It continues. We can see the Volvo, and here's Neville Crichton pulling out to have a shot at him, and Alan Jones tucked in behind the pair of them. Deary me, I tell you, the Volvo is a handful down through the S's. I tell you, they can all poke their fun about it being a block of flats. But in a straight line, this car has got just so much potential.
It has injected an awful lot of life into the Australian Touring Car Championship.
Yes, you're not wrong there. So Robbie Francevic comes out, Neville Crichton playing NASCAR draft with him, and Alan Jones trying to get up right behind Crichton to make it quite a scrap there for third place.
Well, Jones has held on to Crichton's tail all day. He's in 5th spot on the racetrack, and that's a very, very big performance for a 2.5 litre car.
He certainly throws it around. There's Alan Jones, you can see coming through. Get the head-on shot now down AGC straight with Robbie Francevic and the Volvo. Neville Crichton getting closer all the time. They're already putting a lap on another car, and Jones will duck in here on the inside. Look at him throwing that little yellow Alfa around. And it's about here that probably Neville will start to get a little frustrated with the Volvo. He has to get onto the brakes really hard, get it pointed the right direction. Then it all becomes probably a worthless exercise, because once they reach the front straight, the Volvo with the wick up starts to run away, and they don't catch it again until they come in under the braking to Valvoline corner. There's Crichton, car number 31. Currently second in points in the Touring Car Championship behind Jim Richards.
Crichton pulling out, having another go.
Neville's the first guy to tell you, he's not a sprint racer. He's into the enduros. Look at Jones, will you? Alan Jones is all over them, flinging this little yellow Alfa around.
Well, they've all got a touch there.
I've said it before, he is the choice of the spectators in all the rounds of the Touring Car Championship. Can you believe this is a 2.5 litre car? It is now just trying to rope in, but he's going to join the draft to try and get them the next time down near the S's.
There is stuff peeling off Francevic's car. It's unbelievable. Jones really harrying Crichton.
Look at this. He is so close to Crichton now as they come out. Crichton has got to try and get on with Francevic. Francevic there out accelerates the pair of them as they come down to the right-hander.
Here they come to the S's.
Oh, Neville, that's a brave one. And look at Jones up the inside.
Crichton's lost it.
Oh, Crichton's found the quick line. Don't worry about the corners. Robbie Francevic's gone to the rally course, and Crichton now manages to make it up to third. Oh. Francevic is fourth, and Jones is going to pull a giant killer here on the outside of the turbo Volvo, and does it. What a drive.
Oh, goodness gracious me. That was sensational stuff through the Castrol S's.
You know the great thing about Group A, And there have been a few race car drivers lamenting Group A and its introduction to Australia as Jones goes in underneath Robbie Francevic. And that is so many different makes and models that we're seeing being competitive in the passing and the repassing. No longer have we got three makes dominating the Touring Car Championship.
Running 1, 2, 3 from start to finish.
Well, we are watching just one great Touring Car Championship round here today at Calder International Raceway. Race leader Jimmy Richards, second place, of course, is held by Dick Johnson, and up into third is Neville Crichton.
12 laps remaining in the Eurobox Trophy, round 6 of the Australian Touring Car Championship, and this is the go for third and fourth place between Neville Crichton and Alan Jones.
They've been hammering away for the last 10 laps. Just back behind them is John Harvey in the 05 Commodore. At the moment, though, Neville Crichton is holding down third place and Alan Jones fourth. John Harvey is fifth and Robbie Francevic is sixth. So Francevic's tyres going off with whatever problem he has, dropping him off the pace and back through the field. Bad luck for him, but this has been the real scrap for the last 5 laps.
Up front, Jimmy Richards leads, Dick Johnson second. Now Crichton in third spot, and Jones still clinging to his exhaust pipe. And Harvey beginning to reel them in as the race winds down with 11 laps remaining.
Neville Crichton, very quick indeed. Got through on the inside there, coming up to that slower car, Peter Behag, whoever it was, sorry, as they came into the bottom corner. But you'll notice Jones will drop off, but picks Crichton up down through the S's. And how he picks him up on the run down to Glow Weave.
A little bit of loose rear there on Crichton's car as well. They really have been giving each other a bit of knuckle out there today in this round of the championship.
Well, they've gone over the halfway mark. We're into round 6 now of 10, and they dropped their worst performance. At the moment, Jim Richards looking pretty safe as he steamrolls away in the points battle. But 31, Neville Crichton, Mr. Consistency for the JPS BMW team, trying to lock up that third placing. That'll keep him up second overall in points.
Mike Monier and Bob Holden both move over wisely and make way for Crichton and Jones.
And Jones comes through. Bob Holden will probably wave Neville Crichton through on the inside. And Jones zippity-zap down on the inside as well. Great entertainment for the spectators who have been coming along to the Touring Car Championship rounds. Most of it provided by the efforts of Alan Jones in the Network Alpha, the Ignis-sponsored car, who has really been a giant killer in amongst the Mustangs, the Commodores. 2 Valvoline corner again, and Neville Crichton still with third place. Nailed down, and Alan Jones trailing him. John Harvey, the next one, back behind them.
No longer seems to be closing on this pair. In fact, they've got away from Harvey just a little bit in the last few laps. So Harvey safely in 5th spot on the racetrack at the moment, but really not in touch now with Crichton and Jones. Up front, of course, Richards, the leader, with Johnson in second place. And here's the second of the BMWs, with Alan Jones hard on his heels.
And there is our race leader, Jim Richards, in car number 62.
Coming up on the tail end of Colin Bond, who just a moment ago slipped past Francevic. So that puts Colin in 6th position on the racetrack.
Dick Johnson is still there running in second place, just not far behind Jimmy Richards.
Well, Dick Johnson, can you haul him in with 5 laps remaining or not?
Hang on, fellas. Getting me there, Mike, or
Dick
not?
Johnson just a little busy there. Dick, 5 laps remaining. Can you haul that BMW in or not?
I don't know, mate. I'm trying. It's got too much squirt in a straight line.
It's been a bit rough and ready out there today, Dick.
Yeah, mate. We've had 1 or 2 altercations. Here we go again, mate. We could get this guy easy. Well, I will if you don't get out the road.
Did the right thing by you.
Yeah, he sure did. It's good to see.
Looks like Bondi up in front of you, is it?
Certainly is. But I think he's about a lap down.
Tyres holding up okay?
Actually, I'm absolutely surprised. They're damn good. It took a while for them to come on in the early stages. She looked like a spoon in a bowl of custard floating around the place. But once they come on, they haven't gone off.
Jim, when you get, Dick, when you get the parts that you need in the next homologations in August, how much more competitive do you think that'll make your Mustang?
It should be about as competitive as the BMW is now. And, you know, with just that little extra speed in the straight and the way this car handles and stops, I think we might have the better of them. But bear in mind that Brock and company are getting all their fancy bits through.
Dick, for the next round of the Touring Car Championship, we start heading up to your home territory. Is that going to be any advantage to you?
I don't think so, not surface. I'm dying for Lakeside though. Boy, oh boy. That is one hell of a circuit. And I tell you what, all the people up there will want to come out because it's going to be one hell of a race.
Well, thanks very much for your time again today, Dick. We've been following a great drive for second.
Thanks, Mike.
Dick Johnson. There's Kent Bagent from New Zealand over here campaigning the BMW. First start in the Touring Car Championship was at Adelaide, and today having his first start on Australia's smallest course here at Calder, running 8th on the road.
Only just over 2 laps remaining, so he's not really going to improve his position too much. In fact, yes, 2 laps exactly remaining for the race leader, Jim Richards. So Kent is not going to be able to improve too much between here and there, but it's been a pretty good showing for the man that came across completely untried under Australian conditions for his first outing last week at Adelaide and has backed up so well here at Calder.
The man who's putting the pressure on him, of course, to get past is Alan Jones in car number 27. Just touching, locking a brake on the approach there to Valvoline Corner as they move now onto the back straight. There's Robbie Francevic still soldiering on. I tell you what, he's got plenty of hits on the racetrack, and he's got a few verbal hits off the racetrack today. He certainly brought this race alive. There's Jones now getting the better of Bagent, heading down to the Castrol S's. Coming up now towards 1 lap to go, and Jim Richards in car number 62, the JPS BMW, leads. Dick Johnson carrying race cam, running 2nd on the road, car number 17, and Neville Crichton in car number 31, the 2nd of the BMWs, running in 3rd. What more can you say about Jimmy Richards of New Zealand? This has been one of the hardest races of the season for Richards, make no mistake whatsoever. He comes down through the gears to Glow Weave, comes out of Glow Weave, and now heading along the finishing straight. And Jimmy Richards for round number 6 looks well on his way to the National Touring Car Championship. First in the Keilor round goes to Jimmy Richards. Very close across the line. 2nd goes to Queensland's Dick Johnson. And about to finish 3rd across the line will be Neville Crichton of New Zealand in the black BMW.